Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. In the last over 2 weeks since the incident in JNU happened, the country has been racked over several issues concerning it, primarily the issue of nationalism and anti-nationalism. The Parliament has also started discussion on the issue today, with Lok Sabha initiating the debate, and tomorrow the Rajya Sabha will be taking up the issue. There have been much written and spoken ever since about what is nationalism and what is anti-nationalism. Many arguments have also been made about the role of universities in upholding the cause of nationalism and also its role in discussion and debate and dissent on the issue. There are also those who argue that universities should be free of politics and it should just be a place for studies and acquiring knowledge. If that be the case, where do students go to acquire understanding of issues concerning the nation? What is nationalism and what is anti-nationalism? Where do universities stand in this debate, or should they be outside its purview, as some suggest? We will look at all this today with Seshadri Chari, National Executive Member of the BJP, Professor Aditya Mukherjee, historian at the Center for Historical Studies, JNU, Professor Rajvir Sharma, an RSS thinker, and Professor Apoorvanand of the Delhi University. Welcome to all of you. Rajvir Sharma ji, how do you look at this whole issue? You think that these issues of nationalism and anti-nationalism, which has been played out in these last 2 weeks, should have been kept out of universities?
In fact, the educational institutions, if we really analyze the whole issue, have certain purpose to serve. And the purpose is that it should not merely create the employable manpower.
You're talking of the universities?
I'm talking of the universities. They should not merely be the centers to create employable manpower, but they should also be the centers of such knowledge which enrich socio-cultural aspects of the personality of a man. They should contribute to nation building. They should contribute to character and man making. And therefore, in that sense, the universities cannot remain untouched by what happens inside the campus, if particularly it is against the nation.
What about outside the campus?
No, outside the campus also. The student in a university is not merely learning ABCD. He has to be a good citizen as well. And therefore, if he has to be a good citizen, then naturally he will have to uphold the integrity, sovereignty, unity of the country anywhere.
So you said that what happens within the university, especially if it is against the nation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what you said. Professor Mukherjee, what is against the nation? How do universities decide what is for nation, what is against nation? Is there a problem there?
As you said first, there cannot be a university which does not deal with politics. The liberal arts, the politics, it is absolutely essential that apart from just giving a degree which earns you your income, it, as he says correctly, it also builds character and helps you build the nation. The issue is, what is the nation that we have in mind? What is the nation of our imagination? Is the nation of our imagination one which we are now creating, and with utter pain, where we go about beating up people who disagree with us, and lawyers proudly beat up JNU students and say that I beat him so much that his pants were soiled? I'm amazed that in my country, which has built one of the world's most powerful and most beautiful nationalisms in the world, inclusive of all languages, inclusive of all classes, and over time, the working class, the peasantry, the Dalits. I mean, this nationalism is very different from European nationalism, the kinds we do not like, the aggressive nationalism, which is narrow, which hits out at opponents, which destroys universities, which attacks communists, which attacks socialists, which is the fascist kind of nationalism. That nationalism we do not want. One reason why JNU is attacked is because JNU represents precisely the Indian nationalism that has been built since the 19th century.
You call the nationalism which is witnessed in the JNU as the Indian nationalism.
JNU has promoted, if you're talking about the university as a whole, JNU represents what is best in Indian nationalism. Open, inclusive, humane, kind, and thinks of the poor, thinks of the people, and is inclusive of all sections of society.
Okay. Would you like to react before I come to?
In fact, I think we are trying to mix up two things. One, beating of anyone, inside or outside, cannot be justified. And it is not the expression of nationalism as such.
No, but
In fact, it is the attack.
People who indulged in those beatings were doing it in the name of nationalism.
No. They were saying, basically, whether they were saying that it is nationalism or not, but it cannot be justified. The question is whether the declaration of war against the state, whether to call for dismemberment of the nation is nationalism. Would they call that it is narrow nationalism to oppose it?
Okay, that's a relevant question which you asked. Seshadri, Chari, how do you look at this whole issue of nationalism? And some say that nationalism cannot be narrow, cannot be selfish, cannot be arrogant. How do you look at it? And Professor Mukherjee was talking of aggressive nationalism, which is what your party or the Sangh Parivar largely is accused of sometimes. That it's too aggressive.
I don't entirely agree with Professor Mukherjee at all on two or three things. Number one, you cannot give color to nationalism. You cannot say that the nationalism of the Congress is better than the nationalism of the BJP.
I don't think anybody said the Congress.
You cannot say that the nationalism
no parties were brought into favor.
You cannot say that the nationalism of JNU is better than the nationalism of BHU or AMU or for that matter any university in this country. Or nationalism about outside university also. You cannot say that universities are the only arena where nationalism is given to the students.
Certainly not.
So these things are all, I think we are mixing up too many things. As Professor Sharma rightly said, every university, in fact, I would extend whatever capabilities we are attaching to JNU should also be attributed to even institutions like the IIT. Even students in IIT who learn engineering should also learn politics, should also know about various philosophies that are existing in this country, how the political growth of the country has taken place, what is the history of this country. Everything should be given to all the students because that is a very impressionable age where they should know their history, geography, chemistry very well of the country. There is nothing wrong in it. But to allow a particular educational institution to become the arena of party politics is very dangerous, and that is what is happening.
This is not just about JNU. This is about all the universities.
It's about every university in the country. I am saying whether it is Hyderabad or whether it is JNU, whether it is IIT, Bombay University, or call it any university, including Jadavpur University, right from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. If university becomes an arena for politics, it is bad, but you teach all kinds of philosophies to the students. Whatever student wants to learn, let him learn, discuss, debate.
That's interesting.
But
you say it should not become an arena for politics.
It should not, but unfortunately, some universities have become an arena for politics and politicians of all hues. This is what is creating problem.
Professor Apoorvanand, how do you react to this? It should not. You have politics, you teach politics in the universities, you discuss, dissent, debate, all that, but it should not become an arena for politics, universities.
See, it all depends on how you define a university.
And how you define politics.
And how do you define politics, yes. University is not defined or described by its classrooms, not by its syllabus, not by its examinations. Many times we remember or recall our university days when we spend time with our friends from other disciplines in a dhaba or under a tree or sipping coffee together, discussing various issues. Maybe I have seen students who have taken up causes of construction workers on university campus and fought for their rights. This is politics. Politics is a very wide term. It's not a narrow term only defined in terms of party politics, one. Two, the problem arises when a party claims that its kind of politics is universalist and other kinds of politics are partisan. And therefore, you allow only one kind of political language and disallow others, calling them sectarian or partisan, and then start saying that universities should not become places where these political ideas be discussed in various forms. So one is that. As I said, that politics has to be defined in a very wide fashion. It's not party politics. And students should be allowed to be exposed and to discuss political ideas which may not seem palatable or acceptable to traditional political establishment or ruling establishment. Students have a right to get access to that. Students have a right to question established political ideas. Students have a right to voice their own kind of political thought, which they do, and which are often very outrageous, which we would find stupid, but they are experimenting in ideas, they are experimenting in thoughts, and who are we to stop them?
Professor Rajvir Sharma.
No, Girish, I have to only make one point. This is exactly what I am also saying. This is what Professor Sharma is saying. This is what Professor Mukherjee is saying. Let students learn. There is absolutely no bar. There can be no bar on students learning. Let students learn everything about every ideology under the sun. But practicing these ideologies and using their liberty of debates and discussions and extracurricular activities to indulge in activities such as what has happened in JNU is what I find highly objectionable.
No, are you also trying to say that students' union elections should not be held? Because inevitably we have seen student union elections leads to a lot of politics, lot of discussions and debates on politics.
It's very unfortunate that student union elections are more or less conducted on party politics lines.
Yes, because every political party has a students' wing.
As someone who was very closely associated with Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, I can tell you I belong to the 3-decade-old Parishad group. At the apex level, we took a decision once not to contest any student election in any of the universities in the country. For 2 years, we stopped contesting elections only because even some of the candidates of Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad were highly politicized. So in order to depoliticize our organizations, we did it. It was a big setback.
That 2 years.
I still hold my view that universities should evolve a methodology whereby university student union elections are held absolutely on political lines. They should be stopped. We should evolve a methodology, but it's an independent
Professor Sharma,
subject.
would you agree with that? Would you also?
No, I would first like to react to what Professor Apoorvanand and others have said. In fact, there cannot be any disagreement on that issue, that universities should serve as an institution where critical thinking, critical analysis is developed. Those capabilities of the students must be developed.
Right.
But at the same time, it is how you present things. If you say that teaching only one kind of a philosophy is the forum to provide some kind of an idea cross-breeding.
This is not just about, I'm not talking only about JNU.
No, I'm not talking of JNU.
Universities all over the country.
Sir, I'm not talking of JNU alone.
Yes.
I am saying if I am talking of a philosophy propounded and preached by Kautilya, I must be allowed to say it. If I am saying that Aurobindo's philosophy should be allowed to be taught in as much as we teach Mao, as we teach Marx, as we teach Lenin, as we teach Stalin.
Are you trying to say that these things are not allowed in Indian universities?
You know what is happening? What is happening? In fact, if we impartially examine, to say that expression of a certain ideology is imposing certain RSS ideology. Now, what is it? It is merely, if suppose RSS is saying that we should teach Vivekananda, right? Fine. Now, why should we not teach Vivekananda? If we can teach Mao, why not Vivekananda? Why not?
Where is it? Can you tell me where it has been banned? These kind of things.
No, it is not banned. I am saying the opposition.
Or it is not done.
It was not earlier done. But now it is, since it is being done, therefore in opposition. Therefore saying they are foisting the RSS ideology.
Well, Professor Mukherjee, you need to answer this.
Yes, you see,
and also
this whole argument that party politics should not come in. Unfortunately, we are the victims at the moment of party politics. JNU has been damaged almost irreparably for many decades. A picture has been drawn that we train militants, all of us. I've taught in JNU for 40 years. and all kinds of ideas. I have had students who belong to the RSS who've written their PhDs with me. So to say that we do not allow everybody is completely a lie. Secondly, but what has happened is that this image has been created as if we were a training camp in Afghanistan and that we should be closed down. Major leaders have said that JNU should be closed down. Subramanian Swamy has said, Panchajanya has said, close it down. And they are saying then like vermin, clean it up.
No,
this has been said. I'm not telling a lie. I will show you newspaper cuttings.
I don't agree with this.
I can show you
Close JNU for 4 months, Subramanian Swamy. Fumigate JNU, he says. Now, this has done damage to my university. My parents of students are ringing up and saying that हमारे बच्चे वहाँ पे safe नहीं हैं. I want to, through you, tell the country that the finest university this country has produced is being brought down because of party politics. We, sir, have produced the best intellectuals of this country.
No, but that is not the point.
At one time, we've had the IB chief, we've had the raw chief, all of them from JNU. Are we training militants? Then why this attack on JNU? Why this attack on JNU? There are some people who gave, they were bad slogans. They were bad slogans and they are opposed. Those bad slogans are opposed.
No,
but don't take action also.
We take action against
my
them.
question, sir, my question. Sorry to intervene. I want Apoorvanand also to respond to what Professor Sharma said. Apoorvanand, you first respond, I'll come back to my question.
I think it's simply, to put it plainly, simply untrue.
Because you are in Delhi University. Delhi University is not JNU. Delhi University has not been told that it's creating terrorists and it's breeding terrorists and things like that.
What is being said is that Vivekanand was not being taught, Aurobindo was not being taught, etc., etc., etc. I would submit that kindly go and see the syllabi, go and see the curriculum.
Is there any lesson on Deen Upadhyay?
Just a second, let me complete. Don't be impatient. Don't be angry. Anger doesn't behove you. I am saying that simply have a look at the syllabi of philosophy, of history, of different disciplines, and you will find all thinkers there. They are being taught. It's not that only for last 2 years we have discovered them, thanks to RSS or thanks to BJP, thanks to their great minds. They are there in Indian universities surviving. PhDs have been done on Vivekanand, PhDs have been done on Savarkar, PhDs have been done on Tilak, PhDs have been done on Lala Lajpat Rai. How does knowledge on these personalities exist if they are not being taught, if they have not been researched? So it's simply untrue. It's half-truth, lies which are being spread all over. And I find it outrageous that you go on doing it day after day. How can you do this?
Okay. I think
I teach serious objections on all this kind of
let me complete.
One second.
I teach Hindi literature. I teach all kinds of writers. I teach Nirala, who is a great disciple of Vivekanand, who has been influenced by Pragatishil Andolan. I teach Dinkar, who is not a Marxist. I teach Mahadevi Verma. And you say that only one kind of ideological leaning was being practiced and propagated in universities. It's lie, utter lie. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't damage universities.
Okay.
Don't lie, please. Don't lie.
It is very easy to say
that
one particular ideology was not being taught. What you teach in universities, what you practice in universities, or the kind of students that you practice, why this kind of allegations that are made against JNU is not made against Bombay University or Chennai University or Hyderabad University or any other university in India. Why only this is put upon JNU also?
No, 1 second.
People from JNU should themselves think about all these things. Those who have been associated with JNU
would you like to
40 years
respond to, since you're from JNU, please respond to this.
To answer this question, one reason why JNU is being attacked is the critique of Hindutva. We do teach and learn from Savarkar. The critique of this kind of nationalism, JNU has been one of the places where it has happened. And that is one major reason. They find that we critique their positions on not only on Hindutva, which they call nationalism, which we call anti-nationalism. Anybody who says Hindu Rashtra, to my mind, is anti-nationalist because India is a multi-religious country. Now, they don't like it. They don't like many other positions on economy, on society, on Dalits that JNU, many scholars in JNU take. But point is, JNU is not homogeneous. We have all kinds of opinions on JNU.
One second.
We cannot get along with this kind of an argument.
One second. Seshadri, Chari.
RSS never says Dalits are not nationalists. RSS has never said that we are following the path of, as far as nationalism is concerned, RSS never walked on the path of Savarkar. We can have a discussion on this subject. But you cannot get away with saying
Isn't Hindu nationalism? What about Hindu nationalism?
Hindu nationalism is a very different subject. If you want a total discussion on that, let us have it.
Okay.
But nationalism cannot be qualified. I am telling you, nationalism cannot be qualified. It is just
nationalism cannot be qualified. That's what you say.
Don't call
Professor
it Hindu,
Sharma,
don't call
my
it
question.
left,
One
don't call it
second.
communist, don't call it communal, don't call it Savarkarwadi.
One second. Professor Sharma, my question is this. My question is this to all of you. No, is there only one kind of nationalism in this country? Can there be only one kind of nationalism? And who will decide what is that kind?
I would like to respond to this question in a following manner. One, that nationalism is nationalism.
What is nationalism?
We should not try to divide it into some kind of bits and pieces.
No, because there is a lot of confusion
secondly,
about what nationalism
I
is.
would like to respond to my friends here, Professor Mukherjee and Professor Apoorvanand. I mean, totally falsehoods are being spread. You know, who is blaming JNU as a whole? Is it not a lie? If some people are nobody is blaming JNU. No, please don't show it. And by saying this, if you want to cover up, that's a different
I'm
matter.
not covering
You
up.
are covering up.
If you want to cover up,
We have been around by
One second.
If you want to cover up,
let all of us.
When a student,
Sorry,
when a student
sir.
in JNU shows
All of you should not speak at the same
anti-India
time.
slogan, he says, "Gali gali se Afzal Guru niklenge." If this kind of slogans are allowed in a place like an educational institution,
Now, another question.
What do you expect the
another
parliament?
question.
What do you
Professor
expect the police?
Professor Sharma,
To keep quiet?
one second. My fundamental question was.
And you say that for 10 years we have been doing
Seshadri, Chari, 1 minute. My question was this. Sorry, no, that's what. My question was this. Please address that. You know, is there only one kind of nationalism in this country, and who will decide what is that kind of nationalism?
Girish,
I'll come to you. Let him
Girish,
finish.
the
I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
Issue is not who is going to decide nationalism. Issue
What
is
else?
from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, this country is one. We are duty bound by the national integration of this country. We are duty bound by the integration of this
in the
country.
context of what is
There can be-
nationalism
there
and
can
what
be
is
different-
anti-nationalism,
No.
we need to be clear.
You have an independent
Sir,
discussion
don't
on
you
what
think-
is nationalism.
We are discussing of nationalism only.
Let me put a counter question. If you say that there is only one kind of nationalism,
I am not saying. I'm asking you a question.
I think that any act which seeks to dismember a country is an act of deshdroh,
Anti-nationalism.
anti-nationalism. And similarly, if somebody declares a war, कि भारत की बर्बादी तक जंग चलेगी.
Okay.
Now, this cannot be divided into categories.
Sir, one
And
second.
secondly, so far as Hindutva debate is concerned, it's not a new debate. Nobody questioned that Hindutva should not be discussed or debated. This is a wrong kind of a falsehood.
We are not talking about Hindutva debate. We are not talking about Hindutva debate.
No, he
Sir,
said that we teach critique of Hindutva.
yes.
Nobody stopped them from critiquing Hindutva.
But he didn't say that anybody stopped him.
Girish,
but he says
भारत की बर्बादी तक जंग चलेगी.
That is the question which.
Do you approve this?
No,
as
I
an act of-
am not.
act of nationalism?
I don't want to. I don't
Is
want
it
to get into
patriotism?
whether I
Please
should
tell me
approve or
this.
not.
Is
No,
it
Seshadri Chari.
patriotism?
No, my question
Is it patriotism?
No, my question is this: Is nationalism in this country ultimately going to be decided by slogans? Who raises what slogans? Is that what is going to
So
decide
anybody can
who is
raise
going to be
slogan.
national,
It
who
was
is going to
not
be
a slogan.
anti-national?
Anybody can raise any slogan.
It was not a slogan.
They say we have been
It was a
raising this slogan for
provocation.
the last 10 years.
Provocation,
It was a
slogans
mobilization.
are
It was a
used as a
meeting.
provocation also,
It
na?
was a provocation, it was a meeting. And they were saying that jang chalegi. Mane, they declared war.
My question to you is, will slogans decide what is nationalism in this country? Professor Mukherjee, you can respond to them, and I'll also go to
Quickly,
Apoorvanand.
it was no jung was happening there. The whole matter ended up by 7 o'clock in the evening. This is the police report. No, I'm not defending it. But to go to your big question,
One second,
your
yeah.
big question is there one nationalism?
All of you, please don't talk.
There is
No?
evidence
I want to
about
answer-
slogans.
No, we are not.
Then why are you defending that no slogans were
Nobody is
raised?
So
defending
you,
the slogans.
that's right.
But is there one nationalism?
No, my question to him, which I'm
world
asking you all,
over-
is slogans going to decide nationalism?
Absolutely
If
not.
I have to, if somebody holds me up by my scruff the neck and says that you have to raise this slogan, otherwise you're not national.
That's right.
Then what happens?
As this Muslim policeman was
What happens?
forced to carry
the question is not
Bhagwa
that.
flag.
Girish.
No,
Is
that is also a
nationalism?
question.
No, the question
I hope
is-
that is not nationalism.
question is not-
nationalism. The world
question is
over is
not
now
this.
accepted is an imagined thing. You imagine your nationalism, and we imagine.
there
it
can
one
be
way.
different kinds of
There is
nationalism.
there is no given
So
nationalism.
there can be different kinds of different kinds of
In the
imagination.
Indian nation, our early nationalists called it a nation in the making. We had to bring more and more sections of people, more and more regions into what we imagined as our nation. Now, you're not going to bring in people and sections of people by browbeating them, by catching them by the collar and say, if you don't carry a Bhagwa Janda, you're not a nationalist.
See, this
That's
is-
not
I'm sorry,
nationalism. That will
a
destroy the
Marxist-
Indian nation.
This is the Marxist opinion of nationalism, that India was a nation in the making. There is nothing
still
called
is.
nationalism, there is only internationalism. So that is why Marx said, finally, the nations will wither away. There will not be any nation and all that. But we disagree with this idea.
Fine.
And
Marx
there is,
never
there
said
No, that is
an
exactly
idea
the
of
point which I'm
nationalism.
asking.
There is an idea of
Sir, one
nationalism
second.
which Sri
Still,
Aurobindo
Bukle,
said.
Okay.
they call
There is an
India
idea
nation
of
in the
nationalism. Many people have discussed nationalism. The issue
Marx
is
can't
not
say
whether
my
you should
question
discuss
was
or
that.
not.
My question was
The
that.
issue is
That
not
can there
whether
be
you should discuss.
different imaginations of nationalism?
No, there is not
Can it
the-
coexist in this country?
It's not the question of imaginations. Nationalism is not an imagined concept. Nationalism is an existing concept.
What? Okay.
That has
Yes,
been,
yes, sir.
that has been
No,
in
let
the
me get-
menu of this country for
Sir, I'll
ages.
come back. Let me get Apoorvanand in on this. Yes, Apoorvanand. No, my question to you also.
I think-
Can there be different imaginations of nationalism? Can they coexist? Because the whole issue now is whether it can coexist. Because if somebody questions one kind of nationalism, he becomes anti-national. So can there be different kinds of
No,
nationalism which can coexist?
Girish, let me please.
One second.
please-
Let
I
him
want to
answer, I'll
correct.
come back to you.
Nobody is questioning the kinds of nationalism or various debates of nationalism. Our important question that we are raising is, can the students of a particular university shout slogans like...
That is exactly the point which I'm asking.
slogans like, Bharat ki barbadi. Bharat ki
That's fine.
barbadi.
It's seditious, sir. Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it.
Mao or even Savarkar says Bharat ki barbadi, I cannot accept with Savarkar also.
Don't
Okay.
accept
Let him finish. I'll come to you. Yes, Apoorvanand.
There are different kinds of nationalism. If you ask scholars of nationalism, they will tell you that. So if you are not discussing in a sloganeering type of environment, we will say that different kinds of nationalisms exist, different ideas of nations exist, and they coexist in India. There is a Marxist point of view, and there are other points of view. As Professor Mukherjee said, that nation has been treated as an imagined community, and nation is produced every day through symbols, through other means. And how do we recognize a nation, or how do we identify with a nation? There are symbols. We have our national flag, we have our national days, we have other kinds of symbols. And if they disappear, then how do I know what nation I belong to? So we should not simplify, and we should not make the debate superficial. We must accept that different ideas of nationalism exist. One.
Okay.
Two. Second, there are serious objections to the kind of Indian nation that many have accepted as universal and stable. There are Kashmiris who question it. There are Nagas who question it. There are Manipuris who question it. Are you going to put them behind bar?
Precisely.
Are you going to charge them with sedition? And are you going to throttle their voices? Are you going to do that?
Okay.
You
Very
are
quickly, sir.
forming government with them, sir.
Professor Sharma, very quick last word. The completely run out.
Let me say two things.
Very quickly, sir.
One, that this is what the problem with the discussion with our some friends is, that nationalism you may debate, but if somebody questions their ideology, then it becomes superficial. You see, this is something objectionable, that they practice exclusionary kind of politics while preaching inclusion.
Okay.
And there is a need that they should be real, what they say. They should practice. Inclusion means inclusion of all ideologies.
True. Okay. True. Okay. I think on that, at least everybody agrees that inclusion of all ideologies means
Yes,
nationalism.
So you
we
allow
will.
those voices, don't throttle them.
No, we do allow, but we don't
Okay.
allow the
Voices have been
crushing of the
allowed
state.
Build
for
them up.
45, 50 years or 60
We don't
years
allow
of the
the
existence of
dismemberment of the
university.
country.
No, I
We
hope-
don't allow the-
No, Girish, I'm telling
No,
you.
I hope it will continue to be.
But
It
if
will
anybody
continue to
raises
be.
the voice against the integrity of this country, when somebody says Bharat ki barbadi tak jang chalegi,
We cannot accept
I am
that.
sorry,
Okay,
I
sir.
cannot
I
accept
think.
it.
Okay.
And
I-
name of
anything less than
plurality.
50.
Okay, on that note, on that, no, as far as slogans, sir, slogans of that kind, nobody is accepting to be
has a
literally.
meaning.
No, slogan has a
So,
meaning. Slogan
anyway,
is also a symbol.
What is
Slogan is also a symbol. Slogan is also a symbol.
what is nationalism, what is anti-nationalism? I think we will need to keep debating this periodically so that we get some idea, because I don't think at any point of time we'll get a clear idea of what is what, because there are bound to be differences on this. But such debates, I'm sure, will help in at least bringing people together and not keeping them away. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, the big picture, same time.